Hey, what's up, guys? Jordan Anderson here, and welcome to Your Film, a Playground podcast. And we've got a cool show for you. We got a great podcast. This is our first episode, and we're just trying to get into it. We actually have two other filmmakers with us. We have Troy. Say what's up, Troy.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And we also have Chris.
Sup, nation?
There we go.
You feel me there? Some, you know who that is? You know who that is? That's basically a playoff of, oh my god, Sexy Phil. What's his name?
What?
Come on. Sexy Phil. The YouTuber.
Borat? Is that Borat?
No. Hang on.
You've lost us.
Come on, you guys know Philip DeFranco. There we go. I had to Google his name.
Okay.
That's what he says.
Okay.
I had to Google his name. I was just like, crap, I remembered his old YouTube name. And
you remembered his face, but not his name.
Right. And I love the guy. Anyway, so, all right, what is this show?
What is this show? We're going off the rails 30 seconds in. So Your Film, a Playground podcast. So this podcast is going to be dedicated to fresh filmmakers, people new to the filmmaking game, not necessarily young, not necessarily old. And what we want to, sort of the value we want to bring to this podcast is that we want to drop the formality. We want to be very casual with how we're bringing the information to you guys. We also want to bring filmmaking down to an approachable level. A few of these other podcasts, there are tons of filmmaking podcasts out there, and the biggest problem that we've seen so far is they're just not relatable. We can't, us young filmmakers fresh out of film school, we just can't get into what's going on, because these guys are 30 years into the business, 40 years into the business. Some of these guys probably grew up on film, whereas a lot of us now are DSLR, or a lot of us are digital filmmakers.
Right. Well, it seems like there's almost like a couple steps that have been like skipped. It's like, they jump straight from film school until a couple years later where they're extremely experienced, and we are kind of in that in-between stage where we are out of film school or we're in film school like Chris, and so we kind of know what it's all about. So I feel like we are those relatable guys.
What I'm feeling with this is like, I think the vibe we're going for is the more like conversational. Like we're just three friends just talking and sharing our experiences, because we're in three different locations around the country. I'm in New Jersey, Jordan, you're in Virginia, and then
the VA.
Troy, you're between states right now.
Well, no, right? Yeah. Well, currently California, born and raised in California, but as you guys may learn, I am hopefully going to be moving to Washington in the next couple months. So currently California, hopefully in the future Washington.
Let's get the ugly stuff out of the way. Jordan, tell me about yourself.
Ooh, thank you for asking. So my name is Jordan. I am producer and co-founder of Valley Films. We are located here in Virginia. Started off filmmaking around the age of 14, and it just started off with like Nerf gun action movies. You know how those are. You get the airsoft guns out.
Everyone's got those, yep.
You get the video camera in the backyard. And it has sort of progressed until college, and where college was sort of an opportunity to meet new people, learn more of a formal education about filmmaking. And while in college, we founded Valley Films. I don't know, it ran really fast how just going from junior to senior year, starting that company from 0 to 1, all the way until we are now, where we're making vlogs, we're making films, we're making commercial videos, and now we're doing a podcast.
We're doing a podcast.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. Were you a filmmaking major or what? What'd you major in?
It wasn't a filmmaking major specifically, but it was called like digital video and cinema.
Gotcha.
So they try to teach you a little bit of the TV as well as a little bit of the cinema.
And what school was this?
This was James Madison University, so
okay.
Good old JMU.
And what about you, Chris? I mean, we know.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll keep talking.
Yeah.
Hey guys, my name is Chris. I'm a New Jersey native. I attend Montclair State University as a filmmaking BFA major right now. I started making movies, I would say, around 12 years old. I remember my first movies ever were with my older cousins. We would recreate movie scenes from like Rocky or have you guys ever seen the movie Manhunter or heard of it?
No. That sounds awesome though.
It's It's like the original Silence of the Lambs movie.
So it was before Silence of the Lambs, I'm assuming.
Yes,
Okay.
before. And so we would recreate like the torture scene from that. And, you know, I was 11, 12 years old.
That's awesome.
My
man.
cousins
That's
were
twisted,
crazy.
but that's awesome.
Yeah.
Rated R.
Yeah, I mean, we filmed on a little flip camera. My sister, who was even younger than me, had a little flip camera, and we would just film these movies. And then, you know, I grew up through high school making movies with my friends, and here I am.
And Troy?
Well, I'm, I guess, the old person in the group, which is kind of strange. But I have a little different. I am a filmmaker and photographer. But I didn't really get started into filmmaking till I was like 21, 22. My whole life I played soccer, so I was kind of like, I wouldn't say I was a jock, but that was kind of my identity. And then when I got into college, I was undeclared for 2 years. But I always knew that I wanted to do film since I was like 17, 18. But I, you know when like you're trying to convince the people around you, you're like, I want to do film. But they're like, there's no jobs in film. You're not gonna go anywhere with that. And you're like, but I really want to do it. That's kind of like where I was, when I was like going into college. But, I had this course and this teacher said I was a really good writer. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I didn't know that. And she's like, no, seriously, you should pursue writing. So then I was like, okay, what kind of writing would I like to do? And then I discovered screenplays. And I knew at our school at Cal State Fullerton, we had like a good screenwriting program. So I started doing that, took like a bunch of screenwriting programs, and then I also found that we had like a film program and we had, production on stuff, so I kind of just started doing all those courses. I picked it up like pretty well, but there wasn't a ton to do at the school. We didn't have a great program. I think it was more based for screenwriting and kind of like very basic films. So from there, I knew that down the street there was Chapman University, which is a great film school, and I knew a couple people that went there, so I moved in with some people that go to Chapman or went to Chapman, and I started working on film sets there, and they had great production, and everything was it was more catered toward filmmaking. So yeah, here I am a couple years later. I've worked on a lot of like films and indie films and music videos with some fairly big artists, and I've met a lot of great people. So yeah, it's been a journey, but it's been awesome.
I saw something on the Filmmakers subreddit today. A student at Chapman University posted a short film. I don't know if you guys came across this.
What was it?
So it was a short film that he was forced to shoot this film and direct it.
Forced to shoot it?
Yeah, something about his program. He wrote a script that he was really proud of, but it was too artsy for them or something like that, and they didn't clear it. So they're just like, here, shoot this script.
Oh.
And apparently, it was appalling. So he decided to mock the script, like make sure the acting was terrible.
Oh, God.
Sometimes break the fourth wall. There's literally a part where the camera pans from the action, and then you see the boom operator, and he starts throwing up.
Oh God! Wait, do you know? I mean, it'd probably be somewhat of a long shot. Do you know what the name of the movie is, or who shot it? Or
Jordan's on the subreddit right now, right?
We're gonna find this.
I don't know. Yeah, Jordan. Yeah, you get on that. It was just so funny. I got a decent laugh.
So
out of
if you
that.
can't tell, we like to surf Reddit on the Our Filmmaker subreddit. That's a great tool to kind of see, what people are into, what people are working on nationally, because you know what people are working on around you, but it's a good tool to kind of, I guess, see what other people are working on or what people are interested. But a lot of times it can be kind of vicious. I don't know what your guys is.
I was about to say that it's a great place to get shot down. I've been eaten alive on this subreddit before.
Oh man, you have no idea. Okay, so wait, no, never mind. That wrong video. I lied. I was looking at another video from the history.
Dang, all that
from David
built up.
Sandberg. You know the movie Lights Out, the short film?
It's a horror movie, right?
Yeah,
I love
they're
that. Is one
actually-
of the best short films I've ever seen. I'm not even just saying that.
The first time I saw it was in a screenwriting class. He showed it to us. He's like, you don't need dialogue. You don't need 10-page scripts. Because
No, it's so good.
at my school, they're just like 6 to 8 pages, 6 to 8 pages. Everyone's doing 15-page scripts, and they suck.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God.
he showed us that. And have you ever seen any other movies by David Sandberg?
No, I haven't. But like, I honestly, that's so funny that you bring that up. That is probably one of my like 3 favorite short films I've ever seen. I love that short film.
All of them are, those jump scares at the end type style, but they're all very unique.
Well, it's like it's an idea. Like he takes an idea and he turns it into a short film. It's like, oh wait, no, it's not the same guy that made Kung Fury, is it?
No.
They're all horror.
I was pulling up
They're all-
Kung Fu. I was like, that.
You were bringing up Kung Fury, and I was like,
that was an
what?
awesome movie.
Nah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the filmmaker for the Chapman University, the film's called "Don't Lie to Me." I'm gonna try to find the
Put that
Don't
link up there,
lie
baby.
to me.
right. Yeah, I'll link it, so you guys could check it out. It's 11 minutes for. I'm quick to write off short films if I'm not glued to them, but once. Like, I did skip around it. I saw the boom pole thing, and I was like, you know what? This is worth my 11 minutes just for that moment. So I did watch it. It's okay. It does a good mockery. I really feel bad about the screen. Okay, so here's what they do. At the end, with the credits start, they don't do a film by so-and-so. They did a screenplay written by so-and-so. So it's to mock the screenwriter instead of the so like it's really distasteful.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing at Chapman. I mean I'm fairly familiar with kind of how their program works, obviously, because I've worked on. I mean I can't even tell you. I've worked on probably 30 projects at Chapman. What they do a lot of times is they do what's called ghosting, and a lot of times it happens more with DPs, cinematographers. What they'll do is I think you're supposed to shoot 2 theses as a senior, and sometimes people don't have enough, like they only have 1 lined up. So what they'll do is the actual department will be like, hey, you as a senior only have 1 thesis that you've shot, you need to have 2 in order to graduate. And they'll find another thesis that's being shot by a junior or even a sophomore, and they'll be like, hey, you don't need this person needs it. So they will put that person on the project, but you see everyone that's already involved in that project thinks that the junior or sophomore DP is going to shoot it, so they've already set up for it. So a lot of times that DP and the one that the school has designated to shoot it will kind of like collude, and they'll be like, okay, so I'm going to pretend that I shot this. The senior's going to say that, but the actual sophomore and junior shoots it. So a lot of times in the reel, like in the actual reel and stuff, the senior DP will get the credit, but they didn't actually shoot it.
That's an issue.
So that happens a lot, like more than you think.
Is that really frowned upon by the students? Or do people not like it there, or does it somehow work out?
Well, I mean, it's always a thing where like it's what the director wants. I mean, if the director likes how this person's shooting style is, and that's what they want, they're gonna try and get that, and they're gonna work their way around it. They'll be like, oh, this person was the gaffer on set, but really they were the person that shot it, So the school doesn't always know, or they probably just like turn a blind eye to it. So I think the students don't care as long as the best projects.
If they didn't
come out.
weasel their way kind of around that situation, would they just be stuck? Would they have to come back another semester if they didn't get that second thesis under their belt?
Honestly, I'm not sure if I've ever heard of a situation where it's like they don't do that, because I'm pretty sure they kind of like strong on them, or at least strong on the production into being like, hey, this person has to be on this project. Like, we're sorry if you guys planned on this other DP shooting it, but he has to be a part of this. Because I mean, my thought would be it would like reflect poorly on the university if they didn't have people graduating because they weren't engaged enough to get involved in projects, so.
My school, the way you graduate your senior year, you could do a thesis film, a DP reel, which I think needs to include 2 thesis films, and there's also a third option, which is a writing portfolio, which includes several short films and 1 feature film. So that's all interesting. I don't know anyone I'm still young, so I don't know that. I know of people,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't know people that have graduated yet. So I don't know too many people that have gone the DP reel / writing route. Most people do their thesis films because, you know, you want to walk away college, like, because we have those. I remember when we talked about like the cameras that my school has, like the F65, which some people talk about or use sometimes, but, you know, others use like Reds or 5Ds or whatnot. So everyone wants to take advantage of that equipment and actually shoot their final film and go out into the world.
Right. But then you don't always necessarily have those tools at your disposal. Well, do you guys want to kind of like, now that we're kind of talking about it already, do we want to just kind of shift to the actual topic, or?
This brings us to sort of our central topic of the film school debate. We're already hearing some grievances already, but first question would be sort of why someone would want to go to film school, and we could definitely speak to our own experience. For me, film school, being over here in Virginia, there's not very many official film schools, if any sort of a filmmaking community. I came from Southern Virginia, so there was either New York City or LA, and no way did I have the budget or the means to get there. So JMU was, I think there's only 3 or 4 Virginia State colleges that offer some sort of a film program.
Mm-hmm.
So, but overall, they're like, what do you call them? They're liberal arts colleges. So you got to get English under your belt. You got to get science, philosophy, and then you sort of get to work with a camera, maybe a camera that's like 10 years old. But it was, when I was 18, I saw it as sort of a way to get a formal training in filmmaking, whereas I was just using sort of, at the moment, DV tape video cameras and Home Depot lights.
So when I was looking for film schools, I wanted to be in a place where I knew the people around me would be the ones like giving me the job the year after I graduate. So my goal for a film school, I had a few goals. 1, 4 years to practice my craft and get good at it, because that needs a certain level of dedication. 2 was 4-year camera rental. And then 3...
Yeah, exactly.
And then 3, just to make a lot of friends that I know will be, like, close to the city, have connections. And I do have those friends. They haven't graduated yet, but, like, once they graduate, then I'll be, like, next to the line where they're just like, hey, here's a grip job for $150 for the day or something like that. And that'll get me my foot in the door. So far, I'm on a really great track. I really like film school. I think... anyone that wants to do go to film school, explore it, but know that you don't need film school to be a filmmaker.
Right, absolutely. I think I don't think we can stress that enough. Like, it's a means, but it's not necessary. So
that's a scary thought to a lot of filmmakers, though, to say that you don't have to go to college. You can just follow your own path. You can take that amount of money that you had as a filmmaker, or take the amount of money that you had putting into college and put it towards your filmmaking career. That's like that scary, lonely entrepreneurship path almost, where you're on your own. You have to buy your own books, find other means to educate yourself.
Right.
It's like,
well, if you're going to school, well, I'll give you like my perspective on it. Like I'm in a different place than you guys were, because you guys said that you started filmmaking when you were 12 and 14. I honestly didn't know that I wanted to make films until I was like I said, older, 21ish, somewhere around there. So I didn't have that perspective looking for a college. Honestly, I was down the street and was like, oh, Cal State Fullerton, that's a college. I'll go there. Because I was going to play soccer in college. I was pretty good at it. I was going to play, but I played for so long, I got sick of it. I turned down some scholarships. So went to Cal State Fullerton. And
where were you studying in college to start with?
In college, see, I was undeclared for 2 years. I didn't declare film until like junior year. But you see, I didn't have that perspective of, what's the best things to, like, what's the best film schools to go to? What's, what should I be looking for? I literally just, like, halfway through was like, oh, they kind of have film here, I'm going to go for it. So I kind of had to start from scratch, almost like start over with film school by looking to another film school. So basically, I almost did like, it's kind of weird, but I basically went to college, got like a little bit of film degree, and was like, this isn't enough. I need to like kind of go the route that someone would go if they didn't even go to school. Right. So I literally just started networking with people across town, and I've gotten on countless film sets because of that.
Here's a question. All right, so I have friends that have kind of gone the route you have. Like one friend in particular, he was an audio design major, and he actually declared film now because he worked on so many film sets. He realized that he's an audio guy, but like film is the direction he wants to go instead of just regular audio engineering. But let's say you're a business major because you want to play it safe. You still want to get into film, but you're just like, I want a secure major. You want to tell people how you can network with you, because you networked with a total different college.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like that might be like, how do you do that? Because like me, all my friends are in my classes.
Yeah, I mean, I was that guy. I mean, I kid you not, I was working on my business minor. Like, I was getting ready to do business and film because, I mean, that is something you always have to think about. If you're not thinking about that, then you're doing it wrong. Like, I think at a certain point you can start considering, like, hey, film is going to work out. But for a little bit, you should be a little skeptical about it. So I was in that place, and I realized, okay, I don't have my network here. If I'm going to do this, I got to do it right. And for me, doing it right was building that network. And I knew at Cal State Fullerton, there was a decent network, but no one was really doing it. So I was like, okay, I know down the street, they are actually doing it. These are people that are graduating there from are working on big things. And I knew, they were really talented. I'd seen some other things. So, I mean, for me, it was, I went online. There's a thing called Chapman Film Connection. I literally just direct message someone. And I was like, hey, because Chapman Film Connection is like a Facebook group, and you have to kind of get invited into it.
Right.
But I messaged him. I was like, hey, I want to get on film sets. Like, can I be on one of your films? And everyone at Chapman and on Chapman Film Connection is just, they're so great. Like, it is such a great tool. So, I mean, a couple of years ago, they're just like, yeah, totally, come on to our set. You can grip or something like that. Like, are you familiar with any of this? I was like, nah, I'll do whatever. So I kind of just through doing that. And then the biggest thing that I did was I moved in with Chapman students. One of my best friends went to Chapman, and his friends that he'd been roommates for a couple years with were in film. So I moved in with them. I started talking to them. I was like, yo, I really want to get in film. So I dove in,
Oh, that's fantastic.
Just from that, you network, you meet someone, you do well, you have a positive attitude, you meet other people, they want you on their set, and I mean, that's all it really takes is a good attitude and wanting to learn.
That's great. Yeah. What was your culture like? I would say between like Chapman and Cal
State Fullerton.
Fullerton.
Yeah, Fullerton.
Because like for example, I'm wondering if every film school has like the same personality or if every film school has like different. Like for mine, everyone seems to be like everyone's either like a writer, director, DP, director, or like G&E or something like that. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of really nice and talented people, but there are definitely some who are just a little bit dramatic. And like,
oh yeah.
Okay, so that's everywhere. There's always.
Well, that's not even exclusive to film. You find that anywhere in the world.
Right. Yeah, you're totally right.
But there's people that I think the biggest thing with film, and I think in general, like not even just film, is people are in love with the idea of doing something rather than actually doing it. Mm-hmm. So with film, you can't be. I mean, the idea of being a filmmaker is like it's glamorous, it's awesome, but you have to put in the work, You have to not only be in love with the idea, you have to be in love with doing the work and doing it. And that's when you decide, do you really want to be a filmmaker or not? Because when you see that you have to put in these 12-hour days, even longer sometimes, a couple days in a row, weeks in a row, like that weeds a lot of people off.
That was the mindset at JMU. The huge culture at JMU is it's a party school. It's like huge. I mean, if you think Red Solo Cup, you think JMU. Like,
Gotcha.
so that's what everyone does on the weekend, and
Yeah.
even a lot of the film students. So, you want to. A lot of times, I would try to think of a project to do, or I would think of a short film. Something you could shoot over the weekend. I mean, we have access to all this camera gear. We'd get the gear, and it would be so hard to just even my classmates just to get them out on set because there was a party to go to. There was some banger down the street that everyone had to go to.
Yep.
And it's like, I understand if you're like an English major or a nursing student or a business major and you want to like cut loose, but on the weekend, that's, when you have free time, that's, as a filmmaker, that's where you can sort of build your foundation. That's where you can build and learn all the mistakes.
If you're not spending that time working, someone else will, and they're the ones that'll be taking the job from you. So please do party, because I'll take that job off your hands.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing, though. I mean, you should enjoy college to a certain extent.
Of course.
I mean, enjoy it to a certain extent, but there is times where you have to buckle down. I mean, where you have to work, 7-8 weekends in a row just on a different film sets, But I think you have to learn a balance. I mean, I've known a lot of people that will do that and they'll just get burned out and they'll quit film completely. So, I mean, you kind of have to do it in moderation, but you do have to buckle down sometimes and just freaking work,
So when choosing a film school, it may not be about the program itself or the equipment that it has, but maybe the culture behind it. Maybe
it's hard to tell the culture until you're already in it. I even struggle. For example, my film school, I'm not sure if the professors are teaching kids to submit to film festivals instead of putting their videos on YouTube, but or if it's the kids that are just like, film festivals don't accept films that are already posted online.
Yeah.
So I remember
which is true a lot of times.
Whack.
I remember when I was applying, I found a few short films from Montclair State University, but they're very underwhelming. Right now, some of my really crappy movies show up when you type in Montclair State University film, because I use the proper tags to make it like appear number one. Some of them are
Great
good, others
PR.
are complete complete garbage. And I feel like it's hard to tell like what quality the school has unless your school's totally internet savvy and likes posting all their things. I think it's really hard. You know what? Full Sail is really good at posting their stuff because I remember you guys are familiar with Full Sail University?
I almost went there.
I considered it. It's like an all film school. It's only a film school.
My parents wouldn't let me go because they said it wasn't an accredited school. And
yeah, it's not. It has a really bad rep too.
Oh.
I have a distant relative who went to Full Sail. I spoke to him once. He actually acted on one of my cousin's movies, and now I think he builds sets for some local TV news station in the Midwest or something. But like he said that Full Sail got him nowhere.
Dang.
The truth is, it doesn't matter. No school's going to get you anywhere. The effort and the connections you make is what's going to get you places.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I was thinking too. It's like but even like our industry, filmmaking, first off, you don't even have to have an education to start with. But then, okay, the school you went to isn't accredited. I can understand that if you're, trying to be a doctor or you're trying to be a lawyer. But if you're just a filmmaker and it's like, I didn't go to an accredited school, we didn't.
Right.
Like, what does it matter?
Yeah.
I feel like here's my tidbit is that you will certainly learn the most when you're on a film set. Like that is just, you will learn the most because not only will you be hands-on with things, will you actually be doing it, but you'll be able to talk with people and learn from them. There's going to be people on set that know more than you, so you can ask them things. So my thought is that when you're in class, when you're at a film school that teaches, you learn a lot of theory and stuff. And I think theory is very important because, yeah, you can look up online. Like you can go on Google, you can Google, stuff about, what is 3-point lighting? What is ratios? What are things like that? But how often do people actually do it? You have to realize that when you go to a film school, it's kind of like prison is completely the wrong word, but like you're forced to learn, the information because you're stuck there, you're in it, So I mean, for me, I think it is totally, for me personally, I think it's totally worth the money and the value to go to a film school because you're kind of forced, and you're like forced into that community of people that are willing to learn and want to learn as well.
I want to build on that. So, like what you were saying about you're forced to learn what they teach you. If you go to film school, you're going to learn how to make movies like everyone else, and that's not what's going to make you different. In a sense, it really, to be honest, for me, before going to film school, I'm just like, I'm going to do my own films. And now I find myself writing, in the proper story structure, which obviously isn't bad. But sometimes I feel myself influenced by my peers who are more of this precise way of doing things than me just being like, you know what? Let's just do it like crazy, something random, which sometimes takes the fun out of it if you're just strict all the time.
I think, I mean, you look at someone like Picasso. Picasso is an artist, obviously, and he created just the most abstract, bizarre paintings ever. And people a regular person would look at that and they'd be like, this looks like garbage. My 5-year-old son could do this. But then you find out that Picasso could do romantic painting. He could create these Rembrandt paintings that were brilliant. He understood all the rules and was able to break them because he knew them. So I think that's the benefit of knowing structure.
The key
is knowing the rules and knowing how to break them.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of people that come out of film school though. They learn the rules and they never want to break them. They just
some some don't know the rules.
They stay on the path.
True.
And they don't break it.
It happens when some people are. I've worked with people that learn the rules and they're kind of like scared to break them. In the case of, I don't know, hypothetical situation like the 180 rule. You should never break it, but you could break it if you have a reason for
break
it. Break the rules.
Break it? I mean, it's just, I think that is a rule that can be broken. I mean, I think if you have two people in a room, this is my theory, is like you have two people in a room, and you break the line, do you think that automatically will always, confuse the hell out of an audience? I don't think so. I think if you do a good enough job, with set design and already establishing where people are, you can use it to the benefit of the story. So, I mean, yeah, there's so many rules you can break and stuff.
The Hateful Eight breaks the line, like, every shot.
Really?
Not every shot, but especially if you guys are going to see it, there's a scene where they're in a carriage, like a horse carriage. Mm-hmm. The lines just break all the time, and it never confuses you. Sometimes you can't even tell, but like
I would attribute that to like 21st century audiences, because you got to think like really early 1900s people were used to watching theatrical plays, so there's that clear fourth wall, and then you get into movies and they're still trying to like figure out, is he on the left side of the screen or the right side of the screen?
Right.
But now that
that's a great point.
Because it's 2016, we got 360 videos. Like we know where the space is. We know what cameras do.
Spatially,
that's a fantastic point. Yeah, because audiences have like progressed. You can make the similar comparison of how like the same things that scared people in 1950 wouldn't scare people today.
Yeah.
Right. Well, like the idea of what was that movie? I think it was like 1918 or something like that, or no, it was earlier. It was called like The Last Train or something like that, where the guy points the gun. And I guess everyone ran out of the audience.
Thomas Edison's assistant, I forget his name.
God,
made
the
film. Thomas Edison.
Wasn't it The Last Train or the train robbery or Last Train Robbery?
It was the Great Train
like
Robbery.
Millier, was it Millier?
No, those were two brothers in France. They made the first film recording, and they were the first people to ever screen film in France.
They were like the phonograph or whatever.
See, we're hitting on something too. While in film school, you also learn about the history of film, and I remember sitting in those classes and not really paying attention to that. It felt too far off from what I'm learning today. Like I wanted to learn the practical techniques, how to light something, how to record proper sound, and then to look back and watch Voyage to the Moon.
Le Voyage de la Lune.
I don't know if it was relevant or not, or like.
Well, for me, I think like I really enjoy stuff like that because like for me it's like, oh, this is the historical significance of film. These are the things that throughout time have stood the test of time, and to me it's kind of like mathematics. It's like, you know, each film has like built on a previous film, or it's done something a little different.
Definitely.
And it's kind of like math where it builds on that. It's like, oh, you know, in Citizen Kane they decided that they wanted to start shooting, you know, towards the ceiling, so they tilted the camera up, you know, and in other movies they like introduce certain camera movements, and then you build on that. So I think it's interesting in that sense, like learning historically where things come from, and maybe even bringing some things back, you know, that have maybe been lost. But I think on the whole, you watch a movie now or you watch something, you know, you're gonna kind of get all that because it is history, you know.
Like the homage. By the way, Edwin Porter's the director of the Great Train Robbery.
Oh, I would not have guessed that at all. I don't remember that.
Edwin Porter was Thomas Edison's assistant. Have you guys seen The Untouchables? I haven't seen it, but
no. Is that
refresh my memory?
It's a crime movie from 1987, starring Kevin Costner, Robert De Niro, Sean Connery. Anyway, there's a scene in The Untouchables that, you know, has it has the baby carriage going downstairs, just like the Russian. You guys are all familiar with that.
On
the Russian
Potemkin.
Battleship Potemkin.
Yeah. So
film history.
Nerd alert.
Yeah, movies. Testing our brains. Even movies today. Are using these old techniques, especially Tarantino.
Oh yeah.
Every movie. It's so funny. Like I would watch
70 millimeter.
Right, yeah. It's so funny seeing like Django Unchained and then seeing like a 1940s movie that completely different genre, but like you notice the same sequence or same lines even.
Right.
Taken from those movies. It's crazy, but it's good if you know those movies because then you can steal from them because nobody else is gonna know.
I mean, isn't that all that art is? And at the end of the day, I mean, it's literally being able to mask stuff that you've stole from. You know. That's the best way. I mean, because that's all life experience is. It's what we've seen. So how can you not be influenced by other things?
Well, maybe that's the merit of studying film. I guess I just kind of put my foot in my own mouth about learning film, learning the history of film. You're also able to rip off some of those old shots.
Right.
You're able to, or maybe it's only film students, only students of cinema will know it. Oh, that's the Tarantino shot. Oh, that's the old. That's from the 40s movie. Oh, I remember that from that 60s movie I had to watch in class and write this essay about.
See, then you walk a very thin line of homage versus ripping something off, because you have, you know, a lot of homages and they usually go very subtle and like, oh, okay. And then there's things like what is that movie called? Battleship Earth
Potemkin?
Or whatever it's called.
Oh,
and
Battleship
it's like,
Earth?
Yeah, the one with John Travolta.
What's that a rip-off of?
Just like blatantly rips off like a killing scene from Blade Runner. Like there's things like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know, I mean, things like that happen.
Battleship Earth is one of the worst movies ever made.
Exactly. So it's like you do that where it's like you just completely rip things off, and it's like, okay, clearly this is a completely unoriginal idea versus, oh, okay, I see this is like a slight tip of the hat, or, you know. So I think you walk a fine line with that, but yeah,
you kind of feel smart after you catch one of these homages to old films.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
I want to bring it back to going back to a little more with culture and film school.
Mm-hmm.
What were other film students like? How was it like interacting with other film students? What was it like being around other people who wanted to study film?
Chris, do you want to take this and then I can kind of go into it?
Yeah. So right now, like it's awesome. I would say just like anything in the world, like there's always, in a sense, like a clique. Like especially in the beginning, you kind of like form to like who's in your class, and then you start dabbling into other people's movies.
Yeah.
I got lucky and befriended everyone in the class above me.
Nice.
So I got to get the early jump on the gun. I was the freshman on like thesis sets and things like that.
Hold this boom pole.
Right. Actually, no. I gripped. I learned how to use C stands before like other people, and it was just a lot of fun learning from them. There's also a lot of people really get I don't know, stuck up sometimes. It totally happens. Not even to name any like examples, but like sometimes people get into these like little like beefs and they last too long. Or okay, somebody might break a little thing, and then that little thing plagues them for the next year and a half.
Oh, like
until
it
they have
stays
to
with
finally,
them or something? Like,
yeah,
oh.
I know a few people that have had this happen to them. Just don't break SD cards.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, and you know, obviously
Group
it's a
project's gone
sucky
bad.
thing. It's a sucky thing, but it's nothing to like hold a grudge against somebody, and people have to dig out of the hole that they apparently put themselves in.
See, that's unfortunate, because it's like when you're in film school, that is where you're learning. That's where you should be breaking stuff. That's where you need to experiment with things. I mean, it shouldn't happen, but if it does, it's like that's where it happens. When you're in the real, industry and stuff, and when you're actually doing stuff, you can't do stuff like that, or else people won't hire you back on. It's a shame that they do that.
At film school.
Yeah, in hindsight, your classmates are your future colleagues and your future directors and your future DPs. Like, the mistake I made was I kept a very competitive mindset with like whenever selecting group projects or selecting team members, or if it was 4 groups in the class, it was always like trying to beat the other groups, trying to make a better film, trying to have the most talent, trying to be the most talented, or even on a personal level, I wouldn't gloat to anybody, but I had this mindset that I was better than everybody, or I had this mindset like, come on, you don't know how to set up a tripod, you don't know how to like, come on, the switch is here, things like that.
Yeah.
I always like, I really like bringing other people up. I don't know, it's just something I really like doing, especially like I love bringing my freshman friends onto film sets, coaching them, even though I know that it might hinder me more than it'll help me. I know in the future establishing that relationship.
I don't think that's going to hurt you. I don't think that hurts you. I think what it does is it reinforces.
On the immediate,
it reinforces.
I'm just saying, like,
with yourself.
Yeah. Oh, totally true. I totally neglected that thought of like teaching. Like teaching helps you remember things. But I'm saying on an immediate set, if let's say I'm gaffing it, I bring on somebody who's never set up a C-stand. They're not going to necessarily like help me. It's going to be more of a teaching experience for me. It's not going to make anything go quicker, but it's nice to pay it forward and like have other people learn so that they look up to you, and then you can use their resources once they become really talented, maybe even more talented than you.
I mean, for me, Jordan, I kind of agree with you in that, like, your mindset of the competitiveness, like, I think that's kind of that's a culture that was always deeply ingrained in myself. When I was at Cal State Fullerton, I was always like, I didn't like walk around with my nose stuck up or anything, but I was kind of more, it was more like, why are these people studying film? They're disgracing it. Like, not because they weren't doing, it wasn't that they weren't doing anything, or they weren't trying, it was that they weren't trying at all. They were literally there just to get a degree, or they were there just because it was easy or something, and it's like, no, this is art to me. This is like, I love this shit, So for me, I was like, I never verbally said that to anyone. Like, I'm not the kind of person that does that or like gives that vibe off, but I was thinking it, So
yeah, filmmaking is a lifestyle, and that was where my angst came from. Is just like these, like, why? No, we're busy.
You need to be pushy.
We're busy on Saturday. We don't really want to make this movie. It's like this. You want to like you would like crawl from like in 6 feet of snow to get to this movie. Like you're gonna bleed, scrape your knees.
Yeah. Just.
Have you ever I'm sure everyone has had those people in class that would always stay in the back of the classroom while all right, today we're going to learn C-stands. Today's C-stand day, or today's boom-opping day. They would not participate.
Right.
Yeah, every school probably has those people, but then other schools have those 2 or 3 really tryhards, which I'm totally one of them, because I want to gain the most from the people that know more than me, which is my professors and older peers.
And you'll benefit from that so much. I mean, for me, that was like the biggest difference between somewhere like Cal State Fullerton, where there was a lot of people that were very passionate about film, like me, but they kind of were in a similar situation where there was a decent amount of tools there and stuff, but it wasn't a film culture. Whereas at Chapman, it was just like everyone there is just like so stoked on film. Granted, they pay a crap ton of money, so they better be. But like, you know, everyone is very, you know, enthralled in film. And it was almost through working with people that were at Chapman, I kind of took my competitive spirit like that, and I almost like changed it where it's like I love teaching people to do stuff. Like I get such a kick out of like, you know, teaching someone how to use a C standard, teaching someone how to set up a diffusion, or how much light this diffusion cuts, or, you know, how high to send this mambo combo. You know, I love that stuff. And I think by enabling people and being happy for people and being happy for people's successes and stuff like that will only make you better. You know, so I think it is a mentality thing, and I think it's always best to have a good mentality because people want to work with you more than, you know.
Definitely. I would say I'm very competitive, but like I'm also the type of person I want everyone else to succeed too. There's just so many people that just have, you know, sticks up their butt and want like everyone else to just stay down and not really help. Granted, there's just as many people and definitely more people that want to help you out, which is great in film school.
Yeah. Or there's the director who's got his head up his ass where he won't come down, he won't work with anybody else, he won't try to make the story work, he won't.
It's his movie, damn it.
Man,
compromise to any of his classmates.
Yeah. Well, something you want to confess here?
What?
No, yeah, I guess it happens. I've had only good experiences with directors. Lies. But I've had 99.9% good experiences with directors. Yeah. Everyone knows the pressure that everyone else is under, and I feel like if you're somebody that's passionate about this and willing to listen when somebody else is in needs your help, you're gonna have a lot of fun. It's gonna go smoother. You're gonna come out, no matter how difficult it is. You're gonna come out proud of this film that you were a part of. You're the person that made the cop lights out of to a red and blue gel and a C stand going back and forth.
Exactly.
You did that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's dive into kind of where we are now. Chris, I know you're still in film school, but Troy and I were post-film school. Troy, you're a few years out. Has film school helped at all? Was it worth it?
Oh my God.
Do you think could you have learned this on your own?
Yeah, I mean,
let's go back to the first minute of this podcast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think film school, first of all, I mean, the fundamentals that I learned, I mean, I still occasionally read the books that I have. I mean, I was forced into that environment of learning. It fueled my passion. And then when I started working with Chapman people, I learned exponentially more. And now post film school, I mean, I've worked on, music videos. I get paid gigs quite a bit. I more so in like a couple months ago, I've kind of stopped working on film sets in the last like 2-3 months because I am shifting more towards directing. So I want to make sure I'm directing. But yeah, I mean, I've made such great connections that when I'm making my short film, I'm pretty much getting all these people for free that are extremely talented just because I've worked with them so much. So in a way, going to film school, working with these people, you create more assets for yourself. So I would say 100% for me that it's been great.
Jordan?
Post film school analysis. I look back now as probably the number one is the network. I can go to my Facebook messages whenever I want and find an old classmate, chat him up, see what's up, see if he's doing anything, maybe even ask him to join a project or if he's got any projects available. I haven't tapped into professors or even alumni, like really old alumni, but I'm sure that option is there.
Yeah.
But probably the main part, looking back at film school, where it's brought me to today, is getting access to the equipment, getting access to certain opportunities that would never happen if for example, we did this on our own, if we took our college tuition and put it for our own cinematography, director reel.
It wouldn't have been as good as if you stuck with film school.
Yeah, maybe it's...
it would have taken longer.
I think so. And there's a part of me that wants to say that I would have loved to have done this on my own. I would have loved to taken my college tuition and put it towards film gear and, books and seminars and workshops and conferences to try to learn filmmaking. But there's also a part of me too that's like fond of the college memories well, and the non-filmmaking networks that I have too.
Yeah, college is fun. It's an experience.
My cinematography teacher, the head of like the cinematography part of like our curriculum, was a biology major.
Oh wow!
So like he I guess 25 years ago or whenever he decided to get into film, he just switched over, started making some music videos or something. He became a television DP for like some shows here and there,
awesome.
And now he's filming documentaries and teaching film school. So with my experience in what I'm doing right now is I'm in an exciting part where I'm doing my Film 2 course, which is the year that everyone learns how to officially set up like a C-stand and stuff. Granted, I've worked on so many sets, I kind of know the basics and the ropes of a film set. But this is exciting. I have to create a short film to compete with others in my class, basically.
Nice.
So it's interesting. A majority of my class had like Film 2 made their second film, their first real film. That's the film people judge you on. This is like, okay, this is what you're worth. So
they're gonna size you up now.
Yeah. So in my class, everyone took it in the fall. I'm kind of left alone with the majority being like transfer students right now. So I'm like on my own, all eyes on me type thing.
Are you in your second year, Chris? Third year?
Yeah, I'm a sophomore. I'm a sophomore, and now I have to make this film because, you know what? A lot of people, even upperclassmen, were like, wow, like the films that came out of my class were spectacular. They're just like, this is like thesis grade.
No, that's good. Maybe there's like a fundamental
like,
shift coming in your school right now, and you're part of it.
Yeah. I think each year the people get more and more experience. Like I was talking to some prospective students during an open house because I give tours at my school, and they're shooting on like GH4s and 4K. I'm like, what?
Like, why?
Like I saved up for a T4i and like a kit lens. So like just everyone like technical knowledge is almost.
You almost
like
said tentacle knowledge.
It's all
Did you
on
hear
like
that?
the film.
No,
technical.
It almost sounded like you said tentacle knowledge.
Tentacle knowledge. But yeah. I just feel like every year these films are going to get better and better. There's people that are... Yeah, go ahead.
What's the requirement to get into Montclair? Like, what do you have to have sort of any... Do you have to have any filmmaking experience? Or do you have to have, like... At least a demo reel? Or even like the average, I guess, skill level background experience of your classmates?
Totally varies. There's definitely kids like me who are the heads of their high school like TV programs and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Then there's people that have never really made a film in their life, and to those people, I during the open houses, I've gotten that question a lot. Like, I don't have a camera. I'm like, yes, you do. You have an iPhone. I see it in your hand right now. Make that movie. There's literally no excuse not to make that movie. But to get into Montclair, it's like, like a 3.0 GPA, and like the steps to get into my film school is you have to apply with a series of like essay questions for the film department after you get accepted into the university. Okay. And then you have to get called in for like a portfolio interview, kind of like a job interview. You hand them in like 2 short films that you made. I handed in 10. And they're just like, we can't watch all these. I was so nervous. I was right on the cusp of like that. I was on that cusp of like not having like a 3.0, and I was just like so nervous that I wouldn't get in, that like I did everything I can to get in, and I did. And so, you know, they interview you. They're just like, what kind of movies you like to make, what kind of like, where do you want to be, what do you expect from this school type thing, and that's basically the gist of my experience.
There were definitely some kids in my class who had never even touched a camera before.
It happens.
Getting into that class, like sophomores who just couldn't find the on switch.
Dude, that was me.
I guess I can't shit talk it. I don't know.
No, dude, no. It's totally cool. I'm very comfortable with where I've come in the last 2-3 years.
Everyone now has everyone now has like a 4K phone.
Yeah, you can not know anything, and then a couple years later be working on film sets like no problem. So
yeah, that's great to hear. I'm nervous looking for jobs. I'm trying to find these gigs, and everyone wants unpaid full time, and I'm like, no.
Ooh.
I'm just getting so nervous right now, but
with film, it's not you can't really get a full time job type thing. It's even on the biggest film sets, it's essentially freelancing on a bigger scale. So they need a wake up call,
right?
And they all want to see what you've done.
We had this idea for the show to do a camera of the week segment. So each of us talk about like a camera that we've used in our past or admire or like or want to use. For me, the camera that I wanted to choose was my first video camera, the iPhone 3GS.
What? I did not expect that at all.
Yes. The iPhone 3GS. I got in 8th grade. It was the first video camera that I made my own movies with. Like again, I mentioned earlier that my sister had like a little flip camera. But pulling up the stats of the iPhone 3GS, 3 megapixels, 30 frames per second video, 640 by 480 video. It was garbage, but we would make short films, little action scenes with guns every single week, cut together montages on iMovie. One time my friend taught me how to torrent After Effects, CS5. It was all good. So that's my contribution. I guess next week you guys will come.
Absolutely. I don't think I can top that, but yeah, we'll see.
Red Scarlet.
So
we'll put all our links, our contacts. We'll put that in the show notes. You can find your film, A Playground Podcast, on iTunes. And if you want to go to podcast.valleyfilms.co, you can listen to it directly, maybe even download it directly. Who knows? Cool. So thank you guys for listening. This has been awesome talk about film school. I think we've learned a lot. Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Chris. This is it's been very enlightening. We will see you guys next week. I think we'll all be here, same time, same place. Let's put out some websites. How do we get in contact with everybody?
Yeah, so
let's put some links. Chris, plug yourself. Plug away.
You could find me at Chris G Presents on just about any social networking site, and my YouTube channel is youtube.com/thesiegecinema. Check out my videos. Sometimes I post. I used to be a gaming commentator, but then that
he's
ended
really
a couple
popular.
years ago.
He's really popular on
you, Troy?
YouTube right now. He's growing a lot. It's kind of awesome. Here you are, man. Dude, don't sell yourself short. Well, okay, then I guess you can find me at troynicolic.com. If you go there, you'll find a lot of my photography and some video work. You can also find me on Instagram at troynicolic. And embarrassingly, you can find me on YouTube at Optimus Prime 61190, because that, dude, I'm telling you, I don't know how to change it. I don't know how to change it.
You gotta rename
and that was the YouTube I created.
But you did change your channel name, right? Anyway, guys, Troy's videos, especially his light painting video, I highly recommend watching that one in particular. It taught me a lot. I'm
proud of like the content I'm putting out. Too. The name, not
Optimus
so
Prime
much, like because I don't know how to change it, and I made it in 2007.
We gotta have a YouTube tutorial podcast episode. Put that on the list.
Man. All right, good luck, everybody. Keep creating.
Keep creating, guys. My name is Jordan Anderson from Valley Films. You can find us youtube.com/valleyfilms. And yeah, cool. Episode done. In the bag. Do we sign off? Is there a sign off to
the
this?
sign off is goodbye. Thank you guys. Goodbye.
Later.